Hi boys and girls, I'm Mera and today I'm going to explain how to install Hyprland on Fedora from start to finish. A little disclaimer before we start, this is not a beginner guide, neither an advanced one. I'm going to explain everything using simple words and all my experience with Hyprland. We're going to begin with a minimal setup using the Fedora Everything ISO. This is a network installed media, so you need to have an internet connection for this. Also, I'm going to make a Linux Rise from scratch. I'm going to put the link in the description, so download. Why I choose Fedora over Arch or other distros? The answer is simple. Fedora is a stable but up-to-date distro, so we don't need to sacrifice stability and new packages at the same time. And also because Fedora was the first distro that I used the most before Arch. I used Fedora for about 6 years before switching to Arch. So after we download the ISO, we need to download another software called Ventoy. What is Ventoy? Ventoy is an open source tool to create a bootable USB drive. I use this over other apps because you can actually use the USB even with Ventoy installed, so you don't need to actually reformat the USB if you want to actually use it. We need to click downloads. After that we need to select the version that we need. If you use Windows, click on Windows. If you use Linux, click Linux. I'm going to download the Linux version because I'm using Linux, but it's not a problem. Okay, perfect. We download both. Let's open Ventoy. So we use Linux. We need to open this file. We need to actually put our USB drive, and as you can see, it found a USB drive. I already have Ventoy installed in this USB, in this USB drive, but I'm going to format it and reinstall it just for the sake of the guide. We need to select option, partition style, GPT. Why? Because this guide is for UEFI, not for old BIOS legacy. After that, we need to click install. The device will be formatted. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, we know that. Perfect, congratulations, Ventoy has been successfully installed to the device. We can close this option. Oops, not really. You can close it wherever you want. Click on Ventoy and as you can see it's a blank space. Just to copy the ISO to this USB. That's all. This one is the Fedora Everything Net install. We are going to copy. I'm going to copy these two distros because I want to make a video about these two distros, but it doesn't matter, you don't need to do this. That's all. And now we can actually install Fedora. Okay, so now we need to actually install Fedora. I'm going to use a virtual machine for this, but I already installed Fedora on my machine with Hyprland. I didn't do any configuration, but I only installed Fedora Minimal with Hyprland. I'm going to use Ventoy on my virtual machine so you can actually see the entire process because it's very simple. That's all. Let's continue. This is the interface of Ventoy. Select Fedora, normal mode, test this media, install Fedora 40 or install Fedora 40. I already tested this media and it works just fine, but you need to do this. Okay, this is the welcome screen of Fedora 40. We need to choose the language. This one is for the TTI, not for Hyprland, so you can choose whatever you want. I'm going to choose Italian because I'm Italian. Continue. Now we need to choose the partition. I'm going to choose the VMware one, but it's the same as the bare metal PC. Click here. Then you don't need to select this. If you have an internet connection, everything works just fine. If you have a Wi-Fi, you need to actually click this and select your Wi-Fi. This is default. This is default because if you use the internet, you actually set this properly without any problem. We need to select the software. So we need to select the minimal installation. So why we need this? Because we need to connect to the internet, so we need this. That's all. And also you need to select editor because without this we don't have any editor. After that we can actually click this, done, and then enable the root account. I recommend to do this. We need to put a password. This is a virtual machine, so I'm going to put a very simple password. For the user, I'm going to put a very simple name, a very simple password. And we need to actually start the installation. Okay, we can actually reboot the system. This is the Fedora login, so we are going to put our name and our password. Okay, perfect. And now we can actually install Hyprland. If you have an AMD GPU, this process is very simple. We need to do this: sudo dnf install Hyprland. Then I'm going to install Firefox 2. We need to write S or Y. So Y, because in Italian it's S, or in English is Y, so S. And this is the installation of Hyprland on Fedora. Okay, after this we need to actually write Hyprland. So now we need to actually edit the hyprland.conf. I'm going to use vim in this case, just follow me. So cd.config/hyper. And now we can actually edit the hyprland.conf using vim. So v hyprland.conf. By pressing double D we can actually remove the auto-generate warning. Okay, now esc:\w for saving, and we are done. For the sake of my own insanity, I'm going to change the keyboard layout to Italian, because I'm Italian and it's better for me. Next, we're going to configure our monitor or monitors with hyperctl monitors. This is a great utility because it will actually show all the monitors we have. That's all, with all the resolution, refresh rate, everything. In my case, I have two monitors. One at 1080p monitor 165Hz and another one that is 1440p 60Hz. Just follow me. If you have the monitor to the left, we need to put that monitor 0/0, so to the left. If you have the monitor to the right, 920/0. We are going to make a multi-file configs. Why? Because it's better for me, it's cleaner. That's all. It's very easy to actually make a multi-file configs. The first one we're going to make is the environment one. Just copy what I'm writing. I'm not going to explain everything because it's not that easy to explain it, and also because you need to write this thing once and all, and it works just fine. Just copy and paste. The next script is a must to have, and I'm going to explain why later, so bear with me. The last bit is for enabling Wayland in Firefox. We need that because we are using Hyprland. Yes, you can use Xwayland if you want, but Wayland is better. For saving, press esc: and then X. Why? Because we are going to save and close Vim. In the hyprland.conf we need to actually integrate to the environment.conf source equal and then the environment.conf path. We are going to create one config file for the keybind. Now we are going to create one config file for the startup apps, and this is a must for Hyprland. Everything I'm doing now is not optional. We need to do this. The last .conf we need is for the window rule. What are the window rule? The window rule are basically the opacity, the animation, the position, everything about the window. So, for example, if we want Firefox on the workspace one, we need to actually edit this .conf file. If we want, for example, Kitty on the second workspace, we need to actually edit this. Pretty much everything works with the window rule. And there is a lot of stuff on the Hyprland wiki. I'm going to put a very simple but effective .conf file because it's just what I need. Right now I'm going to create the file that you need for Flatpak apps and for OBS and other stuff. And it's a must. I'm going to put that in the description, then I'm going to edit the hyprland.conf again and insert some animation, something about the keyboard layout. Everything about this guide is going to be in the description, so don't worry about it. You can actually pause the video and copy if you want. It's not a big deal. At the end of this video I'm going to show you every single configuration, so don't worry about it. going to enable the Solo Pasha Hyprland repository because it has a lot of stuff. It has hyperpaper, hyperidle, hyperdoc, waybar, clipist, a lot of apps that you actually need for Hyprland, and you need this repo. You can actually use Hyprland without this repo if you want. You can actually compile everything, but why? This one is fast and it works just fine, just use it. And after, I'm going to install hyperpaper, hyperlock, clipist, waybar, a lot of apps that I need, and then I'm going to do some rise on that apps. very simple waybar rise. Now is the time for the wallpaper and for Rofi. So I'm going to use Hyperpaper for the wallpapers, it's very easy to configure. And also I'm going to install a theme for Rofi. I usually don't write Rofi because it's a pain to actually configure, so I rather download something on the internet. The internet has a lot of themes for Rofi, so don't worry about it. For the general theme we are going to install Material GTK and Material KDE because they are both standard and black theme and they are very good for a pretty basic Hyprland rise. I'm going to install both, and also for the KDE apps I'm going to install Quantum, Qt6, Qt6CT, Qt5 and Qt5CT because we need to actually have the configuration manager for Qt. We need both Qt5 and Qt6 because some apps use Qt5 and other apps use Qt6. That's all. Now we need MVG Look. What is MVG Look? It's a GTK 3 and 4 settings editor, so we can actually set up our theme. Without this you can actually use the terminal, but why do that? Unfortunately on Fedora you need to compile this, but it's very easy. We need to actually install 3 dependencies and that's all, and then we can actually compile and install this program. It's very simple, nothing special. If you have Arch or other distros, you can maybe find this app on your repo, but on Fedora you need to do this, unfortunately. these are the keybinds. How can you make a keybinds? It's very simple. If you want, you can actually set up some apps, some favorite apps like this. Dollar, a term you want, so in this case dollar term for terminal, equal kitty for file manager, $files dolphin, for example, browser Firefox, for example. And you can use this as your favorite apps. That's all. I did a binding for screenshot because when you install Hyprland on Fedora, it's going to install Grim and Slurp. Grim is the screenshot app, Slurp is for selecting the region. That's all. I made a very simple script that is not a script. When you actually open Grim, you can select the region and make the screenshot with the date. You can actually copy this. I'm going to put every single .conf in the description, so don't worry about it. This one are the binding for the apps. So super D is for Rofi, this one. Super X for VL logout. Super E for Dolphin. Super Return for Kitty. And Alt F for Firefox. Very simple. If you want, you can add more, you can add less, whatever you want. I did a pretty basic Hyprland slash Weber Rise, something like that. So you can actually put whatever you want here. I did a pretty basic Rise. This one are the binding for the window manager. So super Q for kill the application, super shift Q for kill for. This one are the binding for the window manager. The first one is for killing the application, the second one for killing Hyprland, because sometimes you need to kill Hyprland if it crash or something like that. Super F for full screen, as you can see it works. Super space for toggle floating, if you want something that float. Pseudo, this one. You don't need this, but it's good. I usually use it a lot, but you don't need this. This one is for toggle split. Obviously it doesn't work right now because you need another window in order to make this work. This one is for change the workspace with. This one is for changing the workspace mode. If I say super shift and space, everything is floating. Right now everything is floating. If I do this, it's not floating anymore. This one is all pseudo, this one is alt tab, this one is for resizing the window, so if I did super H, so this category for focus, move, resize, tab apps and specials. So if I open another app and I say super L, it will lose the right tabs. Super L, the right tabs, in this case OBS. Super H, the left. So this one is very a fast way to actually move focus to an app and another. Super shift left, so you can actually move the window wherever you want. Super CTRL, super control and left if you want to resize the window. Up, down, wherever you want. Obviously for now only left and right because I need to open another app, toggle split, and now I can actually do this if I want. Super G for the group, if you want to group some apps. As you can see, this one is all group. I can actually close this if I want, so. And also if I want to remove the group, I'm going to do Super G again. These are pretty basic but very functionally Hyprland Rise. I'm going to put this in the description. This one is a pretty simple but effective waybar configuration. I have on the left Hyprland workspaces, on center the clock, and on the right pulse audio, network and tray. Maybe I read it wrong because is 0%, this is strange, but whatever. With 5 workspaces. I'm going to put this in the description as well. With the style.css, obviously. For the Rofi one, I'm using literally a theme I found on the internet. I'm going to put that in the description too. I don't usually write my Rofi. I usually find what I like on the internet and then I install it, even on my Rise. For Hyperpaper, this one is pretty simple as well. I'm going to preload 2 images, and then I'm going to put the first one on the first monitor and the second one on the second monitor. The first monitor has this image, the second monitor has this. I'm going to actually show you like this because whatever, I don't have a I'm going to use GIMP as my photo viewer. This one is the second image. This one is the vlogout configuration, pretty simple. Look, reboot, shutdown, logout, suspend, hibernate. This one is the CSS. I'm going to put this in description as well. And last is for Hyperlock. This one is my Hyperlock, very simple configuration. I'm going to put this in the description as well. I'm going to change it for my Rise because I don't like this, but it's very simple and works just fine. As you can see, I'm going to show you. This one is the Hyperlock. I'm going to insert the password. It's like a macOS one, but it works just fine.